So, are you ready for me to share the next Align Experiences topics? And for those of you that have been to my events and been to all of my events, know that every single time I do it, we talk about different topics, and it's based on what the overall group who's been pre approved, who've been vetted, this group, what they're going through, what they want to learn more about, what they want to better understand about themselves. So, this video will be the one in 4 or 5 in a series where I released a topic that we'll be discussing. And so the first topic we're going to talk about at the June 1st at the Line Experience is money, 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 money mindset. And for those of you who haven't been to one of these experiences, what happens is, call it, there are different rooms, and every single room is a different topic and different theme. And what you do when you come to the experience is you join one room, you learn about a topic, you break, meet your matches, mingle with people, then you join another topic. You basically rotate in different rooms. Think of it like a Sleep No More or a Alice in Wonderland experience. And every single room, the way you learn and the way you kind of interact is you play with everyone. There'll be session leaders. For example, I would be a session leader, but we're really here for guidance. It's not a lecture hall because the best way we learn is by interacting and playing. And every single room has a unique game that I've thought through of what's the best way for you guys to really digest a topic or a scenario. So that's the kind of interactive experience that you'll be going through. And this time around, June 1st, there will be longer sessions. So instead of, it was like every half an hour was the last one in June. February 17th, the last event. Every half an hour you'd rotate. This will be more leisurely. It'll be at every hour, and it really allows you to kind of dive deeper, let people's stories resonate with you, and for giving you more time to share your stories as well. So now let's dive into money, 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 and what exactly are we going to be talking about? So these series of videos, these Align Experience videos, think of it as a teaser, as a prep for those of you who are coming. So you have an idea of what we'll be talking about. Maybe you want to read more into these topics before you come. Maybe you want to be pleasantly surprised, but want to give you guys at least some sort of idea of the things that we'll be talking about. And so when I mentioned money, money, money is the first topic, kind of 4 key areas we're going to hit on at the experience. One is cultivating an abundant mindset. Secondly is creating a healthy money mindset, very different, similar tied, but quite different, and I'll explain. Third is knowing your worth and expecting it. And then lastly is aligning your gifts or things that give you value, and aligning your gifts and your value with your chosen career. So let's dive a little bit deeper in each of these nuggets. So when I say cultivating an abundant mindset, what exactly am I talking about? So there can be an anxiousness, a sense of lack or fear when it comes to money, and it is taught, it's passed out. When you were a baby or you're a toddler, you didn't even know about money. You didn't give a crap. You wanted something, you went after it, you pointed to it, you said, Mom, Dad, right? It's the mindset of money. If there's any fear or nerves around it, it is absolutely taught. So, you might have been hurt. And how are we taught these things, whether like directly or subliminally? There's a common phrase we hear a lot when we were younger, and maybe even now, it's, money doesn't grow on trees. Or you see people that are close to you or throughout life struggle when it comes to making money. And because it's deemed so hard to get, there's like this obsession and a fixation about obtaining it, more of it. And there just seems like there's never enough, right? But what happens is when you become so obsessed with money, we end up forgetting why we want money in the first place, right? So let's dig a little bit deeper on that. What is money? Money is simply a mechanism to trade goods and services or things that you ultimately want, right? So it's kind of the middleman. So ultimately, you want that good, that service, or that experience. That's what the money offers you. So wouldn't it be easier just to cut the middleman or cut the money? and go straight to the good or service or the experience. And a lot of you who are tied to this idea of like, oh, I need money to do this, I need money to do that. This idea of like, wait, what do you mean skipping money? How does that work? Right? Let me give you some real life examples that happen more often than not, right? So, say for example, you're traveling to a city and you would normally have to book a hotel, and you find out just, you're telling your friends, you're telling your people in your circle like, "Hey, I'm going to Nashville," right? And then you find out one of your friends was like, "Oh my God, I moved down to Nashville during COVID. I have a sick place. I have an extra bedroom. Would love for you to stay. I mean, I love to host. I want to show you the city." There's a sense of pride that this person has about the city, right? So instead of having to get the money to get the hotel that you needed in order to, experience Nashville, you just were given the ultimate goods, which is the stay, right? Happens more often than not, right? Another common thing that happens is, say you moved into a new apartment and you need new furniture, you need things that are going to fit the space, and someone in your building, literally on your floor, is moving out. They're moving to a different city and they just got this brand new couch maybe a month or two ago and they barely used it. And they would have to get rid of it because they're leaving, and you'd have to pay a fee to like dispose it because it's a huge, massive sofa, right? They give it to you for free because it's cheaper for them to get rid of it by donating or gifting it than actually have to pay for service to get rid of it, right? That's another form of abundance. Again, ultimately, you wanted a sofa, you wanted the good, right? You literally skipped the money step, the middleman, and you got this item literally for free, right? And I'll give you another scenario, which happens well, not sadly, but given the market environment more often than not. Say you've been eyeing your dream home for years now, and now the owners, for whatever reason, need liquidity and they need to get out, right? They just dropped the price of their home significantly. So instead of you thinking, oh my God, I need to make X amount more in order for that home, right? You literally just got that home without having to, again, get that middleman and struggle through it. So I share these scenarios because when we get so caught up in like money and making money and thinking like we need money to do everything, you kind of block off all the opportunities where abundance and opportunity is given to you, right? And you have to remember, like, we as a human species, we're social animals, right? Like, we need connection. We thrive in it. No one's an island, and people love giving. People love helping. Just like you like to give and help people too. It's an exchange, right? So don't be so caught up in the middleman, which is money. Be more open to, what do you ultimately want, and what are some other ways you can obtain it beyond just the money. And I see a lot of people who, the most successful people kind of block these ideas. They're just like, oh, I need the money to get this. You don't, right? So I just want you guys to be more open minded about the ways abundance can come through you. And again, money is just the middleman, right? um and then diving a little bit deeper about that, um ultimately we want things because it gives us a certain like feeling, like we want to feel like we want to go on vacation because we want to feel peace. We want to like experience a sunset, a beautiful sunset, because it gives us a sense of awe, right? We're going to explore on June 1st. Remember that ultimate feeling that you want, and be more open to ways you can cultivate and gain that feeling. Maybe you don't need to fly um, to a different continent in order to see that specific sunset, in order to feel that sense of peace. Maybe that sunset is literally in your backyard, right? So I would just say, we're going to talk about the ultimate feelings you want to cultivate, and how do we get that without struggling through and thinking like money is only the way that we can achieve it. Um, so that's what we're gonna do June 1st. We're gonna play a lot of games that talk about these kind of blocks to abundance. And how do we create more healthy mindsets when it comes to abundance? Secondly, speaking about healthier mindset, we're going to talk about a healthy money mindset. So let's talk about money itself, right? The mindset and the feelings you have when you earn, spend, and invest money either creates more money, which is abundance, or it creates more lack, right? So, say for example, you yourself or someone who's super generous, like they're always the one. I remember like growing up in my family, like it's also like in the Chinese culture where family members would fight to pay the bill. Like it's literally a thing. And what happens is when you're a generous person, you always get things back because again, people on a default naturally want to be givers. People want to help, right? So when you give first, you always get back. It's maybe not directly linked, like say I gave to Jen. Maybe Jen is not giving it back to me, but because I'm putting out a sense and a sense and energy of abundance and goodness, I'm gonna get this back. Maybe when I paid for Jen's dinner at a restaurant, true story, right? And I'm like, don't worry about it. The manager saw like, wow, this woman's so generous. Let me go gift them some dessert and drinks. Like maybe like next time she comes, like I got her lunch. There's so many different ways abundance comes back to you, but it just the what you give out, right? Kind of like the law of attraction. What you put out is what you're going to get back, right? You probably also know someone who's, I would say, super cheap or have notoriously screwed people over when it comes to money, especially in a business deal, right? More often than not, the person who does a dud deal with someone and doesn't do treat money and other people with integrity and respect, ultimately word gets around, right? And their circle of influence or their network that can create abundance or create opportunity with them would go down because people don't want to do business with a-holes, honestly, or get screwed over, right? So you'll also see people who are very petty, very cheap, who are very closed minded. They actually close themselves from opportunities. So that's why it's super important. Like, what is your relationship with money, right? Like, what are some mindset, thoughts, and feelings when you earn, when you spend, when you invest, right? Do you see money as good, evil, or neutral? What do you think when you see a bill? Do you see like, oh my God, like there's a fear around like, oh my God, I'm spending so much money? Or do you see a bill and think, wow, I'm so grateful. Like I had the ability to experience this much monetary value of goodness, of goods, of experiences. Like, how do you see a bill? Do you see it like, wow, I really invested in myself. I really invested in my business. I really invested in my well-being versus like, oh my God, I spent so much money. I blah, 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 blah. Like it's depleting. What you say and the mindset around the energy around it really creates a ripple effect. Um, and, we're, I just feel, especially now, people are really freaking out with the markets. Money is limitless. There's literally more than enough. And anyone who embraces that is how they create more money, right? We literally print money when we need to, right? That's how we got here with inflation. We could literally can create money. It's just literally a barter system, right? Also, money is literally created every single day by new services, new products, right? Basically, anything that creates value to other people or society. So, even in the financial markets, right? Like we literally sign companies a dollar amount and we call it market value, right? Or enterprise value. It's just a value. And we literally create this value out of thin air. Like it's born out of idea, it's born out of a concept. Obviously, people had to take action to execute it, but it literally created out of thin air, right? So if we can create things out of thin air that creates value, what ultimately can be exchanged for money, right? Is it really true that there's never enough, that we need more and money's evil, right? So we're going to explore these themes as well on June 1st and really hone on to like what are some learned unhealthy patterns and mindsets of money that we want to undo, and then what are like the new productive mindsets that we want to adopt. That's the second topic. Third is easy in the sense of like everyone understands this without me having to dive into it. It's just knowing and expecting your worth. So, and also let me dive a little bit deeper. Is your money expectation coming from your soul or from your ego? That's a whole thing that we can dive into, right? Do you settle for what a comp you're given, or are you constantly fighting and needing to like be paid your worth, right? Like there's two different extremes. Do you want more because your peers got more and now you're a little bit of like keeping up with the Joneses? Do you aggressively ask for comp because deep down inside you actually hate your job and it's torture being there? So the only way to be compensated for that pain and that wasted time is pure money, right? So these are just some ideas that we're going to explore, and especially when it comes to comp season, which there's always kind of anxiety around that, or like getting paid your worth with clients. We're going to explore these themes as well. Um, and then lastly is very, very important, and I always say this, but it's really finding alignment in what are your gifts, right? The gifts that give you value that you can exchange for other things that you want, like goods and services. How do you align your unique gifts and values with a career that can exchange again the value you have for the other goods and services you want, right? You can either struggle your way through a career where you're not using your gifts, right? And it's such a hurdle to, get that paycheck or get that client. Or you can be more in flow state. You're still going to work, you're still going to take action, but you're much more in flow when you do this thing because it comes natural to you. You're naturally gifted in it. And it's much more easier for you to exchange that gift or value for other goods and services that you want. The last thing is more about alignment. And in all of these kind of key themes that I discussed when it comes to money, we're going to play, of course, games. So there's going to be comedy involved, there'll be improv, there'll be blindfolds, physical activity, touching. It's a very sensory interactive experience, but very creating a safe space for everybody. So that is the first topic: money, 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 and abundance that we're going to discuss in the line experience. So enjoy. And I can't wait to announce the next topic for you guys shortly.